This segment is sponsored by Michigan Auto Law. You may be planning lots of get-togethers during the holiday season, but if you're hosting any of those gatherings, you should know about social host liability. Attorney Brandon Hewitt is with Michigan Auto Law, and he's here to explain all about it. Hi, Brandon. Good to see you.
Yeah, good morning, Catherine. Thank you for having us, as always.
Right. So what is this social host liability?
Social host liability is important for all of us to think about right now as we're entering the holidays and getting together with people. But it's basically keeping people legally responsible if an injury happens because you are serving alcohol to your guests and specifically to minors. And that's kind of the key feature here, is that it holds people legally liable if somebody serves alcohol to a minor and subsequently something happens.
Yeah, so that's the difference here in Michigan. The minor getting a hold of the alcohol is what is impacted by this liability law, right?
Yes. So don't worry about, your uncle or your grandmother coming over and, having too much eggnog. But certainly if you serve alcohol or you provide alcohol or you allow alcohol to be consumed on the premises to a minor, number one, just that act is a misdemeanor. And if it causes an injury, they get in the car and cause an injury to themselves or to somebody else, now it turns into a felony and obviously possible civil action as well. So yes, it does apply to a minor specifically.
And again, if an adult relative drinks too much at your party, you're not liable for them.
That's not social host liability, correct? Now, there could be a theory that you were negligent in providing, too much alcohol or grossly negligent. Those are legal terms. But social host liability in Michigan, at least, is confined to minors. That's correct.
Yeah. So what is it that Michigan law says about providing alcohol to minors?
Right. So number one, you can't sell or furnish alcohol to minors. And that second word is kind of the key word, right? So you might say, well, I didn't sell, nephew John, who's 20 years old, any beer. But if he consumed or you provided alcohol to him while at your house, you violated that law. So that furnishing is kind of key. It doesn't have to be actually selling. The other law that comes into play is just the allowance for alcohol to be consumed on your property. So, it's either furnishing or allowing them to consume alcohol on your property that can get you in trouble.
And criminal penalties?
Yeah, criminal penalties. Just the act of allowing alcohol to be consumed or furnished to the minor is going to be either a 30 or 60-day misdemeanor along with some fines. And then again, like we said, if that minor then goes out and causes a car accident, either hurts themselves or somebody else, now you're looking at a felony and up to 10 years in prison.
Wow. Now, I've heard of dram shop liability, which I believe is like for bars and restaurants and places that like sort of professionally serve people. Is that different from social host liability?
Yep, that's right. And you hit it right on the head, right? So it is the bars and the restaurants that can be responsible for providing too much alcohol. The dram shop is different than the social host. Remember, in Michigan, social host is limited to that minors under 21. And dram shop, any restaurant bar can be held responsible for over serving somebody. The tests are a little bit different, obviously, than social hosting. But if they overserve somebody who's 40, they could still be held responsible for any damages or injuries they cause for that.
Okay, so you have some tips for people who may be hosting this holiday season, how to be safe and protect themselves against this social host liability.
Yeah, it's just about being responsible through the holidays and all these gatherings, right? So one thing that we encourage people to do is actually hire a professional bartender. It might sound expensive. It's really not. For the couple of hours you might be serving people. Obviously, bartenders are trained to notice, number one, intoxication. Number two, the law requires that when you're serving somebody, you provide diligence in ascertaining whether or not they are a minor. So bartenders are going to be trained at recognizing, whether people are underage. They're also going to probably be a little bit more diligent about checking IDs for people who are looking for alcohol. Either provide designated drivers, require designated drivers for multiple people in a party, or provide or encourage people to take Uber and Lyft. It's one of the great things behind technology that's different than it was just 10 years ago. You don't even have to call a taxi. Just provide Uber or Lyft. Encourage people to take those rides home.
All right. Well, you have a whole list of advice and we're going to put it on our website, 13onyourside.com. Also, you can get a hold of Brandon or an attorney at michiganautolaw.com. Brandon, thanks.
All right. Thank you, Catherine.